call the meeting of the inspectors of Carbon County Jail to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of these proceedings. Are there any guests present? There being no guests, approval, everybody's gotten a copy of the agenda and the minutes. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting held November 20th, 2024.
Motion approved.
The motion made by Rocky, is there a second?
Second.
Second?
Over here.
Oh. You echoed over that way.
You're a ventriloquist.
Questions on the motion? I would just, I would see if we could amend the minutes to indicate that Commissioners Notstein and Commissioner Sifranco and Sheriff Dan Ziegler, that they were excused instead of absent. And just absent has another connotation. Everybody had a different appointment, they weren't able to be here. So we'll mark it as excused. If we could do that, you amend the motion to that extent, Rocky?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So with that change, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Report of any executive sessions held. I think we did have one for a personnel matter at the last meeting, didn't we?
Yes.
Right at the end? Okay, and we may have announced it when we came back in, but we did go in executive session for that. No, and there was nothing to report as a result of that. Reports of committees, maintenance report.
We had Allstate in to pump out the grinder pit and clean the pumps. Submitted dweller reports. Johnson Control was in for camera issues. They came in again for camera issues. Train was in for the quarterly rooftop unit PMs, and A&W was in for a sewer plug.
Anybody have any questions for Rodney? Okay, with that, we'll move to the work release report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Submitted is the monthly work release report for the month of, past month of November. There were 3 inmates on the program, with 3 still currently on the program. Net income for the month was $45, $48, and 16 cents. A breakdown would include room and board, $1,625. Court costs, $200. Inmate payments, $2,683.16, and $40 for escrow. Also included is the monthly in-house work report.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Schubeck on in-house work release and the work release program? Okay, we'll move to the Planning Action Committee.
No report.
No report. Warden's report.
Okay, the following report is for November 1st, 2024 to November 30th, 2024. We had 69 male admissions, 21 female admissions, for a total of 90 admissions. 63 male releases, 23 female releases, a total of 86. Average daily population for the time period was 138. Inmate census as of 11/30 was 121 males, 21 females, for a total of 142. Total admissions as of November 30th of this year is 872. Transports, we had 4 to the ER, 10 specialists, 13 for dialysis. For a period of 27, we had 3 days of hospital duty for the month. That concludes the report.
Any questions for the warden on the warden's report?
Motion to approve.
Okay, a motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we wanna go into an executive session now, on personnel matter, or no? We had enough with the emails and what we had? Okay, there's no action to take. All right, no executive session, let's go to the personnel report. Everybody have a chance to review the personnel report? Alright. Entertain a motion to approve the personnel report.
Motion.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second. Give it to him.
Okay, motion made, seconded by Commissioner Notstein, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Do we have anything under old business? New business, we have the PA Saban contract. That's the same one that we had before, through the Pennsylvania District Attorneys Association, and alert, victims on the event of anybody leaving the Carver County Correctional Facility. So, I don't think, did you have a chance to review it, Bob?
Yeah, I reviewed it, it's the
Alright.
same every year.
So we'll recommend approval by the commissioners to execute the agreement. Will somebody make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to send that to the commissioners.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Rocky. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Calculating recidivism data.
Yeah, so, we just wanna make the board aware that Val and I have been working on a project with, trying to calculate some recidivism data. Some of the PCCD grants that we've been applying for, it's a requirement, and also for funding opportunities in the future. Judge Nano probably remembers, I think, Ron Clinton used to track this in the past, and then Rick tracked it, and to my knowledge, I don't believe anyone's tracking it right now, so, we're gonna try to tackle that. Hopefully within a couple months, we can have a report that we can submit to the board, and then we'll take some recommendation on if we need any changes.
Okay?
Thank you for taking that on.
The Core Track Round Tracker.
CoreTrack is a system we went to look at down in Bucks County. It's new, it eliminates logbooks, it will tell you when an officer doesn't make a round. It'll tell you, that you have to make a round, it'll tell you, I think the biggest thing for us is it's a tool that's gonna stand up in court should we be sued for a suicide. It'll tell you that an officer's made a round. When we talked to the officials from Bucks County, they said when they have a suit for something like a suicide, they throw that information down first, and it kind of takes the jail off the hook. We were hoping to use funds from the prison commissary because it benefits the inmates. It would be at no cost to the taxpayers. He said, we did go down and see Bucks County. It was very interesting. It can do a lot of different functions. What we need it for would be basically for rounds, for suicide checks, to identify inmates when they're leaving a pod to move to another unit, to identify inmates when they're being released. It has a whole lot of other functions, some that we wouldn't need. But the big one for us would be, it's a round checker. It makes sure that everybody does their rounds. It gives you that's the right word here, but it gives you the evidence you need that you did make these rounds. Am I forgetting anything?
Yeah, one of the benefits of it is it's in real time, so
Yeah.
it'll alert a supervisor immediately, if rounds aren't being conducted or if a round is late, and then they can correct it or investigate it or whatever the case may be.
So will everybody get a device, or how is that done?
Every housing unit will get a
You
device.
hand it off to the next person?
Correct,
Okay.
yep.
And they're gonna be sort of like cell phones, and we looked into the idea of having old cell phones that we could use. I think you checked over at 911.
Yeah, spoke to Caleb, they have a ton of like old county issued cell phones at the comp center that we could just reuse, and then they could lock them down so that they only have access to this round tracker on there, which would be a big cost savings, we don't have to buy the devices.
And like I said, it does take logbooks out of the picture as well. With another officer sitting on the block making log entries all shift long. It makes your log entries, does your rounds for you. Not for you, but does the documenting for you.
So you have the Wi-Fi network requirements
Yeah.
up there? We're gonna have a problem with them inside the prison with construction or anything?
Yeah, we're working with Caleb and getting it everywhere that needs to be. It's just essentially running some wires, which Rodney's already taken care of, which we need for other things anyway.
I want the servers, is that all part of the going to be paid for?
Yeah. Caleb said we have servers here that we could use.
What's the cost?
I think the preliminary cost was around like 30,000 maybe for the initial. And then
Annual upkeep,
and it's
maintenance,
like-
any,
I think it was like $3,800 per year for the service. It's relatively cheap.
that fund would support it?
What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, fund to support that, yeah. We were gonna have, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when we talked to the, administration down in Berks County, they said it's been a lifesaver for them. They're like, you almost can't afford not to have it anymore with the way lawsuits are and things like that. It just essentially digitalizes everything. Everything's, you can alter a logbook, you can't alter digital records.
They were even willing to come up here and sit in on a meeting to tell you the benefits that they've had at their institution.
And then the other thing is, the representative from CoreTrack, it's actually through our current OMS system, it's just like an extension of it. They're also willing to do a demonstration for the board, if that's necessary.
Is there anything that you have to go through the union ever tracking employees or not?
No.
Okay.
I think for both the disciplinary issues that we've had on occasion and the need that you have to, when anytime there's an inmate suicide, having something that's computerized, that documents it on its own by you just being in that location is important.
Well, in addition, the increase of safety and the decrease of liability, that everything is digitalized, those benefits alone, I think are tremendous.
We don't have to take action on it because we don't know the cost or anything that's involved, but, can we get a quote and a contract, at least that we could take a look at?
Yeah, this was basically preliminary, just to see whether or not the board's
Does
interested.
the board
in
wanna
this.
see if we could get a quote and a contract and see what services are provided in terms of maintenance and everything
I
else?
wouldn't see why not. Look
Okay.
into it. If it's gonna help, it helps, and if it's cost-wise,
So we don't need really a formal action, why don't you just request and see if you could get there, I'm not saying that we have to necessarily need anybody from the company to do that, but if they could see how it ties in, what we would need, how much it will cost.
Would you like a presentation at the next prison board meeting, or?
You guys, do you feel you
You
need to,
don't-
I'm familiar with it.
I don't think I need a presentation. I just need to see what it's cost, and,
Okay.
you can see the benefits of it. It's gonna be recorded, and if that's up to the standards, I don't need to have somebody come in and talk to us about it.
Okay.
We just need to see what the price is, I think. I don't know what you guys think about it.
Well, I think in your quote also include in that, or in some presentation from Caleb, what's needed and do we have it, so that we know our infrastructure will support this.
Right.
But obviously, if you guys think it's a benefit, and you and your people are gonna be trained on that, I don't know that I need somebody to come in here. I think I have a pretty good idea of what it does and its benefits, so.
Okay, you take care of that.
It's just
I
like your
think it's a good
GPS.
system.
Yeah, it's
I think
just like your
I think it's a good
GPS on
system,
your
but
car.
The one thing I think we should have is probably an opinion from the solicitor that it can be paid for by the commissary funds. I'm not sure what can be deducted from the commissary funds. This appears to me more a cost of running the prison than it is a benefit to the inmates. So I would want an opinion from the solicitor on that.
I've talked to the Department of Corrections a couple different times over the last 3 years about,
I'm just saying, that's what I would want, otherwise I will not go for it. For that should be an easy thing to get, but I don't think you can place the cost of all operational costs of the prison on a commissary fund. And this seems to me to be more a standard operation cost to basically track staff and employment. That's what you're doing. Now, maybe you can, but I don't know the answer, so that's my only hesitation.
All right, then what we'll do, we're not formally taking action on it, we'll ask that they get together a cost analysis. We'll ask the solicitor to prepare an opinion on that, and I ask that the warden get in contact with whatever other entities and how they've funded it, and if they had an opinion from anybody, just so we know that what we're doing is, we're doing it in the right manner.
That and how it would be funded or an alternative possibly, and ongoing cost into the
Mhm.
future, just so we can make an informed decision.
Okay, so there's no formal action with that, and we'll move on to, the train contract, TRA and E train, not railroad train.
I'd like to make some comments on it. Did we, I mean, we were working with Train before when we were going through getting all that work done up there. And, I know this is through Co-Stars, and it looks like they have like already in here, and this discount, are we gonna be able to pay that discount within that 15 days? They show the discount price here, which would be, if we don't meet that deadline, it's gonna be $475 more. And going back to the installation where Tremco and that WTI did it, we went through the whole thing, and Train gave us a price in the beginning of that time. We used to remember, like, they were gonna do the project for $25,000 for a unit, and it winds up costing a couple $100,000. So should we accept this or look in to see if Tremco could do this? I mean, just with our relations that we have with them, that they helped us do that grant to get all that money, and Train really didn't. So now, will Tremco, their contractor, be able to work on this? I mean, that's my question. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't really comfortable with Train, because they ran us around for about 2 months during that grant application. In fact, I think we had to get an extension on that. So is this something that we should okay for Train, or should we can we look into having Tremco and their contractor do it? I don't know. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but, you know, I followed through pretty much of that grant that we did, and Train did not help us get the grant, Tremco did. So I don't know what anybody else feels on the board, but I would rather, if we're allowed to get Tremco to give us a price on this also. And I think, wasn't Tremco, they are Co-Stars approved, aren't they?
Yeah, but it depends on the contract, it's not just a
Right.
vendor is Co-Stars in any contract, it has to be a Co-Stars registered contract.
Does this have to be done right now, or?
I don't think so.
I don't think it hurts to check with Tremco and see if they could do the same thing that Train does.
Yeah. And how, like, when they come in to do this inspection, like, do we change filters before they get here, or does that have nothing to do with that? Are there
That is
filters
nothing.
near that
I-
have to,
we change the filters ourselves every 3 months.
but is that done before they come in? Cause I mean, you can be bumping around changing filters.
Right now, my filters won't get changed till January,
Okay.
and then every 3 months, we do our filters.
But I mean, that's my suggestion, there's other board members here, I would table it till we get more information, maybe from Tremco, if we can do that.
I'm sorry, Rodney, didn't you tell me one time that Tremco gets their parts from Train anyway?
Well, if you're doing Train units, you'd have to get your parts through Train.
Right,
Whereas when Train does the work, you're getting the parts at, you know, basically their wholesale price. Whereas if anybody else comes in, they're gonna mark up their prices, cause they're gonna make money on that as well.
but Tremco showed up all the time,
I've never
Like-
had a problem with Train up there though.
yeah, well,
I mean, I've called Train, like if we had a heating issue or something like that, and I call them, they're there that day. I mean,
Well, just so that we could get everybody all on the same sheet of music, I don't think it hurts to get,
and just one other note, I know we were dealing with Ryan back then, he's no longer with the company,
with Train or,
with Train.
well, that's what happens, sometimes when they don't cooperate, they might put somebody in another location, and I said, they just didn't cooperate with us on that grant.
We had the grant before that, it was just
Well,
using
you
it.
had to fill it out and you had
Right.
to have all these requirements that we had to fill in. And they never gave us any, like I said, they came out and said they were gonna replace them units for 25,000, and it wound up being, what was it, $360,000 for the units. That's a far cry from $25,000 a unit. So I just feel that I was more comfortable the way the train was there, they finished the job ahead of time, and what is it actually gonna cost us? Maybe they can come up with a price that, and they have an increase on here of 6.25% already every year. Like, we didn't even give, I don't even know what, like our employees, even with their contracts got 4%, they're getting 6%. And they're coming in just to look at something, I don't know, I mean, I think it's worth looking at.
When does this contract run out? And how long is it gonna take to get a second price or a third price even?
I believe the existing one runs out, December 31st of 2024, and then this new one would have been in effect January 1st, 2025.
So how long are we gonna be even found an agreement then as well? And are we gonna have to do an RFP to go out to, get other quotes?
Bob, do we have to do that?
Depends, if there's an intergovernmental cooperative purchasing contract, then you don't, but,
I mean, if we were gonna change, we should have started the process a little bit sooner.
Well, and that's
But
what I
now
said,
we're
it's
gonna
on the
sit here.
agenda today, this should have been done maybe 3 months ago.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
that's
just
where we're
concerned about
behind.
now, we might sit for a month or two or more until we get someone in.
That's how we sit on all these contracts, then we're behind the 8 ball today, if we don't approve it, what's gonna happen in January? We should start looking at these contracts 3 months before. And we never do that.
So who's gonna contact Tremco? And ask them if they can,
I don't know if you can
Duplicate
do
the
that without
contract?
first checking with, can we even, are we able to do
well,
that?
yeah, we can ask them for a proposal, I mean, it's just, we couldn't award it if it's not cooperative and it's above, obviously, it's gonna be above the bidding and advertising requirements, but.
So one of the things you may wanna look at, if the existing contract is anywhere like the proposed contract, there's a paragraph here under term that says, following the expiration of the initial term, this contract is December 31st, 2027. This agreement will renew automatically for successive periods of 3 years until terminated as provided herein. If you do not want to renew this agreement for the renewal terms, please notify Train by an expiration date prior to the expiration date set forth in the preceding sentence. So, it's sort of a risky proposition to say you want to terminate it before you have something else in place. But if you don't terminate it, it's going to renew automatically. Again, if the language in the existing contract mirrors what's in this proposed contract.
And is there, I didn't know you look at that either, is there something in there that we could terminate it on notice of them
I'm not
within
sure.
30 days or 90 days, like most of our contracts
Yeah.
are?
I'm not sure, I don't know, Rocky, I haven't.
Yeah, some, I mean, a lot of our contracts are like that, I don't know if it's in this one.
Hearing that might put us at even a greater risk of doing anything, now doing nothing.
And maybe you wanna put, maybe you wanna pull the current contract and see if it has that identical language, I'm just making an assumption, I don't know.
You may be better off just going through with this for next year and then looking at it.
Well, and if there's,
Absent anything else, I think you're right.
yeah, I mean, well, that's what I said, you're sort of like, we have to start getting ahead of the
Yeah, you're at present.
8 ball, 3 months ahead of time stuff.
I think your suggestion's correct, Rocky, it's just now
Yeah.
not the time.
Well, and if it's one of them things, if it's in there, I still think we should pursue with Tremco to get a price, even if we pass this on, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're stuck. And hopefully there's something in there that we could get out if we're not happy with it. you know, notice of 30 to 90 days. I don't know if there was anything ever in this one, Bob. Because this was an ongoing one, isn't it? That we've had them for years, like maybe that language was not ever changed.
Under the circumstances, I'll make a motion to, recommend the commissioners to renew the contract with Train.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And that can certainly be checked by the commissioners before you have your next meeting.
Okay. Let's do that. Train contract renewal. I have one thing under new business. I did request, when I sent the saving contract over for their Carbon Monroe pipe to be placed on here for discussion, but my understanding is that the commissioners already acted on that on December 5th. So I'd like to express my concern, the fact that this is the second contract this year with Carbon Monroe pipe that never came before the prison board. The one in May didn't come through, and now this one, and we always get these. I remember we had it on the agenda last December, and we had that for approval. I understand that the warden had sent that over, and why Carbon Monroe Pike sends it to the warden and not to the prison board or for the board of commissioners. I have issues with that. And I would have liked to discuss at least some provisions in there that we had discussed at the meeting relating to furloughs and things of that nature. I understand how the money's being used, that there is opioid money, there's things that could have been placed in there that could have assisted us with furloughs, and it seems like the actions are taken and not coming before this board. We're meeting on contracts for dishwashers and other units in the prison, but not, one that has an effect on at least the district attorney's office and what we do at the prison in terms of our ability to.
But this is a position that was at the prison and we lost the funding for that position, is that correct?
It's just that, not this contract,
The contract.
the contract for
the position
2025.
and The job or the service being provided, the funding ran out, correct?
The May
For the
one,
person up there.
the May one, but I agree, the May one didn't come, but it still needs to come, these are things that have to do with the prison, it should come before the prison board.
Yeah, I don't
Because
understand.
the contract says it's between, for services at the Carbon County Correctional Facility. If you don't want, if we're not gonna, we're discussing, like I said, the maintenance agreement, we've discussed the purchase of a dishwasher, but we're not gonna talk about, something that comes in, and it's for a position, but it's a monthly fee that's on there. And the same thing, this is for the services that were provided. I'm not sure if it was for the salary of a position that they lost funding for, but it was for the services to be provided. And I did have issues with the May one on the services that were provided, because it's kind of written into that it's written not so much as providing the counseling services at the prison, but it was for a position that would evaluate prisoners using the Letty model for evaluation to remove them from the prison into treatment, which we can't do a furlough, but they're gonna move with, to remove people from the prison. And I just would have liked to entail what specifically are they gonna do? And that was my concerns with this one. That's why when we had them in here at the last meeting, because it had to do with the prison, that I didn't think that, that I just assumed when I received that we were gonna have it on this month's meeting to discuss, because I would have liked to have spelled out what we were being provided, because if there is opioid money, obviously there could have been something that we could have put in there, or made an application for the opioid money to be used. I mean, your money that you spent on the ads indicate, no insurance, no problem, but they're not gonna let you have a furlough if you're not already, you have to be out of the prison first, because there's no insurance money in that. Because that's what it all came down to, and I just would have appreciated the opportunity to discuss this before it's acted on. That's why I think in the future that anything that comes in relating to the prison, if we're gonna make recommendations and serve as a prison board to the commissioners, that we should have the ability to review these things and put our input in, unless you want me there at the commissioners meeting. doing it there. If you want me to do it there, then that's the place I'll do it, but I just think we should have had the opportunity to review this. We did it last year when we approved it, the 2024 contract, but the 2025 one, nothing. Alright, that's all I had to say on that. Is there any correspondence? Any further business? Then we'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.